Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV. This is the Transfer Zone. I'm joined by two special guests today. It is Omundi and Sven, and of course, Marley's hosting it with us. But you know what's coming now? The intro. Yes, everybody, welcome back. This is the Transfer Zone. I'm joined today by Omundi. How you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be seeing the sun every day. It's summertime in London right now. And I'm even more grateful to be with you guys. Not just that, Sven, I haven't seen you for a long time. Marley, I haven't seen you for even longer. And I see you all the time, Matt. So, yeah, boring. But anyway, what I would say, it's great to sort of come out of my bubble of the Premiership a lot of time and actually talk about international football and sales around Europe and all the action that's going on. So really appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Omundi, thank you so much, mate. And Sven, of course, it's been a long time since you've been on. Thank you so much for coming back, mate. How are you? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be back. It's been a long time. Yeah, like half a year or something.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Well, you've been studying hard, haven't you? And I'm loving to see that you're rocking the Real Betis retro shirt tonight, man. Fantastic. We also got, obviously, Marley back again, mate, after doing all your acting, etc., stage it. Been on stage quite a lot recently, mate, haven't you? Eh?
Yeah, it's been a minute, mate. It's been fun. I'm acting a lot, which is something I love doing, but yeah, it's tiring and I haven't had the time to be here as much as I should and as much as I would like to. But I'm really glad I'm coming back to this stream with two of my favorite people. Well, three of my favorite people, well, you go without saying, but I miss Sven for sure. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, it's been a very long time.
And he's definitely one of my favorite football brains that I've ever met. So yeah, I'm really happy he's here. And Omundi's just like the best character on YouTube. So I'm really honored to be here. It's a good stream to be coming back to.
He's acting again.
Yeah, I'm pretending I like these people.
Yeah. You weren't saying that backstage, were you?
Why don't we rock and roll straight into it then, everybody? We're going to be talking, first off, talking about Lewandowski. He wants a Bayern exit. He wants to go to Barcelona. There are problems with Bayern letting him go. I think he's had arguments with, I believe, the manager, which is Nagelsmann, recently about tactics and stuff. And, of course, just putting up this picture as well. Keeper, what's his name? Oliver Kahn is the footballing director, and they've had a bit of a squabble as well. Starting with you, Sven, mate, what do you make of this situation for Robert Lewandowski? He has got 1 year left on his contract at Bayern Munich. Do you think it'll be silly if Bayern Munich try and keep him for an extra year, or do you think they should cash in now and try and get as much money as they can from it and let him go to where he wants to go, seeing as he's been a long time and a decent servant for the club?
Well, considering his attitude right now to Bayern, I think it's the best to let him go. If he stays for another season, he won't be motivated at all. So a move to Barcelona would be the best. They get some money. Otherwise, he will go for free next year. I would let him go if I was Bayern.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with that. Because look, at the end of the day, he has been there a long time. He has done well, right? Omundi, what do you think of this, mate? Do you think it's unfair on Bayern, or do you think it's unfair on Lewandowski, or are you in the middle here on that?
Well, first of all, I think it's interesting that we're getting a case like this from Bayern. Bayern usually keep things behind closed doors. You don't really hear much stirring the pot, that kind of thing from players, especially. They're usually quite happy with the way things are run as a club. So obviously they've got a new manager, Oliver Kahn's obviously ex-player, great player as well, in upstairs making decisions. I don't put any blame on them. I don't know what's going on, but I would say this, that players are very vocal these days. And he said enough for me, the quotes that I've seen, to say, as Sven was saying, that it's time for him to leave. If he's completed the job, he's completed a chapter at Bayern. I think he's broken Muller's record as well, which is outstanding. Muller, to me, is one of the best goal scorers. Gert, the bomber, Muller is one of the best goal scorers of all time. So for him to break some of his records as well at Bayern, he's a legend, no doubt. It's tarnished a bit now with the fans, maybe. I don't know how they feel about it, but with the comments, a bit negative. But if he wants to go to Barcelona and play a couple of years in the warmth of Spain with that nice football, maybe less work rate, be fed a lot more. It'd be interesting to see how he develops out there. So if I was him and his agent and everything else, I think, and the club, I think they should come to some agreement. And not just for that, I'm being selfish right here as well, because if they do come to an agreement, I think it might start the merry-go-round, like the domino effect of transfers. We're at Manchester United. As you know, I'm a Man United supporter. I think Frankie de Jong needs to leave Barcelona for the same reasons, because the word is he's not wanted. And even though he's speaking, he wants to stay, the club are sort of hinting at him, just get out of here, man. We don't really need you, because we want to get Lewandowski and players of that ilk in on that wage as well. And apparently they want to get Bernardo Silva and a couple other players as well. So I think if Frankie de Jong does come to us, then that will start the ball rolling. So someone needs to go and have a word, knock on someone's door and force the issue. And it won't, and that'd be Frankie de Jong. Come on, Frankie, come on, start this ball rolling. Because we're out here doing shows every day now, discussing about transfer, speculation, everything else. And it's usually that one transfer that, like I say, starts the ball rolling. So hopefully Lewandowski we move to Spain, and it'll be really interesting to see, because as we're going to go on to later, when you look at the situation in Spain right now, Barcelona have dropped down the rankings. Real Madrid, they're champions of Europe, and they're refreshing their squad. They're transitioning at the moment, as we're going to find out later in the show, the other subjects. So Xavi's got a job to do to get close the gap. And I think a player like Lewandowski, who over the last 10, 15 years has been outstanding, will definitely give them more firepower and say to Real Madrid, yeah, you want some, we're back.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm glad you mentioned about the De Jong thing, because that might be a stalling thing for Man United trying to get him, isn't it? Because they really do need to. If they're going to get Lewandowski, he's going to want big wages, right, Marley? I mean, he's going to want a lot of money, isn't he? He's not going to want to drop down, really. And I'm pretty sure he's on quite a lucrative deal at Bayern already. So, yeah, what do you make of that, mate? And your thoughts on it? Do you think they just need to get it done, like Omundi says, like come to a gentleman's agreement, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. Well, first of all, I want to say a couple of things about Lewandowski. I think he's a huge icon of football already. When he retires, I'm sure he's a legend. He's reached legendary status. I'm pretty sure he's my favorite striker post Henry. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like post Maddie's a big fan of this player too. Post Romário, Lewandowski's probably the best goal scorer in the world. Like I'm pretty sure in all the seasons he was in Bayern, I don't think he was ever not the highest scorer in Germany. The guy's a goal scoring machine. I remember he scored 5 goals in 13 minutes or something. Like, the guy's just nuts. It's a little weird that he wants to go so bad to Barcelona, but Barcelona and Real Madrid are those two teams that a lot of players dream of reaching that stage, right? Like the two biggest clubs in the world. So I don't know if it makes a lot of sense football-wise right now. Like, Barcelona is quite behind Real Madrid, quite behind the two big English clubs, behind Bayern as well, or PSG. But it's probably just a dream of his. Yeah, mate, when it gets to that point, when a player really wants to leave, he's on his last year of contract, he said that he does not want to be there next season. Yeah, they just got to sort it out. The thing is, Lewandowski's not a young player, not at all. And he's going to cost a lot of money wage-wise. So no club's going to want to spend too much money on him, right? Like, how old's Lewandowski? Like 32, 33?
Well, yeah, that's
33?
the thing.
Yeah.
He's 33, isn't he? And saying what you were saying, mate, as well, the fact that he's not going to want to drop down on wages, though, is he? That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's still going to think that he's going to be able to get one last big deal, whether it be someone like PSG or someone in the Premier League. I know other clubs in the Premier League are looking at him as well. And Look, he came out with this statement, Marley. I just want to read it. He said, "I've scored 41 goals in a season, not you." And it looks like him and Julian Nagelsmann fell out over instructions on the best position to take for crosses weeks before the striker launched his public push for a transfer. So is that really all it is? Just the fact that he's not getting on with the manager?
I don't think that's the only thing, but from the Leipzig days, I remember that Nagelsmann doesn't usually play with a fixed number 9, right? Like he usually plays with a playmaker up front. At least from my memory. I'm probably wrong. Sven can probably correct me. But I think he usually doesn't play with a fixed number 9. So 11, it's similar to the Pep and Ibrahimovic days back in Barcelona. That makes a little bit of sense. The difference is Nagelsmann doesn't really want to get rid of him. It's just that Lewandowski wants to play to his style. I have no idea how Bayern was playing this season. I did not follow it. So can't comment too much.
Well, they won, as they always do.
No, yeah. And he scored a buttload of goals like he always does. Yeah, he's a FIFA player, but still, I don't know how the tactics worked. Like nothing like that.
He scored a lot of goals. I think it's in a couple of hundred, maybe even 300 goals for Bayern Munich. I think it's in that region.
It's crazy. His goal scoring abilities are insane.
And of course, he started off at Dortmund. So let's just maybe go around, give a thumbs up if you think he is going to go to Barcelona. What do you guys think? Going?
Maybe not Barcelona, but he is going.
Right, he's going.
Where else do you feel like he could go?
Yeah, very good question.
I think
right?
PSG would be the only place.
Yeah, PSG maybe.
Why not?
PSG could make sense.
I know they've got players, haven't they? They've got players in that position, but they just want to buy anyone for the shirts anyway. So they'd be like,
right. If City gets Haaland and Lewandowski in the same transfer window, I'm done. I stop watching football.
They also got Alvarez, so they won't.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Juventus needs a new striker, maybe. I don't know.
Vlahovic and Lewandowski.
No, Vlahovic.
Screw off.
I forgot about Vlahovic.
Maybe someone else is probably going to be Skamaka, right?
Yeah.
I assume so. Yeah.
Well, we'll move on then to the next one, of course. Tukamini to Real Madrid looks like it's going to happen from AS Monaco. They say around 100 million. That's including add-ons. And Real Madrid pouncing again. I mean, maybe this is because they didn't get Mbappe. Now they've got this money to try and build a team instead of just buying one individual. What do you make of this deal here, Omundi? I know Man United were looking at him, but when teams like Real Madrid come in for the chase, you're going to be out of it pretty quickly, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's very smart business by Madrid. I think if you look at their squad, they've got experience and they've got youth. And lately they've been sort of buying youth players who are not in their peak yet. You're looking at this guy, look how big and strong he is, 6'2", central midfielder, defensive midfielder. Not just that. I don't like to pigeonhole players, but he's an all-round player. He's got good touch. He's got good awareness, a good tactical awareness, especially. He can press really well. I've seen him in games for Bordeaux and for Monaco against the bigger teams, and he's really stepped up against some. I've watched him against PSG several times, really steps up and really knows what he's doing out there for such a young age. And I think it just, once again, just highlights how good the French talent pool of players is. Obviously, he'll be joining a French teammate, Cadavinga at Real Madrid, who's gone there and got games. He's coming on even as sub and featuring really well. So that turned out to be a good move because obviously they're in the transition of their midfield three who won maybe 5 Champions Leagues. That's Modric, Toni Kroos, and Casemiro. And these guys are almost coming to the end now. So why not slowly make a project where you slowly bring in players season after season, so you've got ready-made replacements right there, and I think they're done really well with this choice. The money might look expensive, but I think long-term, Real Madrid will be in a good position, and they're not going to dip because a lot of sides, when it comes to transitioning, there can be a huge dip. For example, if you don't manage it well, and we're seeing that Barcelona at the moment. They're talking about paying big wages to Lewandowski, and the reason they lost Messi because they couldn't pay big wages. So it goes in cycles. And they've dipped really to the low. They were in the Europa League, for example, and they couldn't even get to the final. They were knocked out. So just goes to show that Real Madrid are doing very good business, very good player. And if you look at the two Brazilians they bought, I know Marley will talk about them in Rodrigo and V Junior. They bought them a couple of years ago, and we're going to talk about another Brazilian later in the show. But it just shows you, if you bring them in at the right age and make sure they're hungry, because these guys are definitely hungry. You cannot deny that. Look what they did in the Champions League in the knockout rounds, especially. You can see these guys have got hunger. You can see the guys got passion. They also got Marcelo there, the Brazilian guys who could, as that base.
I think he's leaving. Marcelo's leaving.
Well, he was on the bench a lot of the time. And you say, well, what's he still doing here? But obviously, he's there to sort of help these guys settle in. The same applies for the French guy, Tuchamendi, coming in now. He's got Canavinga there, who's 19 years old. He's 3 years his senior. And he could tell him, have a phone call, say, is it worth coming? See, yeah, this good project going on here, and obviously they've got the best manager for that unity and that harmony. So I think that's a great move for him. Great move again from Monaco, who does do some fantastic business. When you look at their sporting director of Monaco, who was an English guy, what's his name? Oh God, he was there. He was at Tottenham, at Southampton with Poch. Forget his name. Yeah, so he's the guy who's brought all these players through, and this is what we love to see. If you look at the German league, the French league, they sort of bring players up from lower teams with potential and bring them in, and then show them off, and then obviously can sell them on for big money. So fantastic signing, and I'm sure we can see him. I've seen him play he can play in a 4-4-2. He can play as an 8. Up and down the pitch. I read an article the other day from The Athletic. We went into real fine detail about just how much of a good player he was, and a lot of stuff that I didn't really realise about him, which I suggest. He's got all the physicals, but what really helps him, what really I'm surprised with, is his tactical awareness and how he dominates games. So I'm not a data guy. But I'm sure there's data stats to suggest that interceptions, reading of the game, not getting beaten with the ball, no one's dribbling past him, that kind of thing, and just setting things up. He passes forward, he plays with his head up, everything you want in the modern day so-called midfielder. And sometimes they get labelled as a CDM, but I just think he can do it all. I don't like to say that. I like to see players with a well-rounded game, and I think he's got it, and that's why Real Madrid have signed him.
Blow me out the water there. They're absolutely perfect on what you said. Would you agree with that, Sven, as well? And the fact that Omundi said is that they identify the players when they're young and they're decent. He is an international player as well, and they've won the race for him over everybody else. And maybe winning the Champions League and La Liga this year helped convince him that this team is only going to get better and stronger, right?
It's just unfair, really. Real have the Modric, Kroos, Benzema, all the older generation with great players, and now they have Camavinga, Valverde, Rodrigo, Vinicius Junior, Militao, Tuchemeni, even Omundi isn't that old. They signed Rudiger as well. It's unfair.
Yeah, and
it's just unfair.
I don't even think they're over yet, are they? There's probably going to be more players they bring in, maybe. So
they will
I'm hoping they're not doing the Galactica thing, Sven, and they're not just going to overspill the team and then kind of lose the gel.
Oh, they're not doing that though, because they're investing in young players. It's not like they're bringing Ronaldo, Beckham, right? Like it's a different era of Real Madrid, and it's annoying.
It really is. And only Casemiro is only 30 years old, so he will go for like 3 or 4 more years. And then you have Courtois, who will still play for 3 or 4 more years at world-class level. Carvajal, they will sign a new right back in the upcoming years, I'm pretty sure, who's Mazraoui or something, who's insanely talented.
I can't find anything about how much wages he's going to be on, because I'm guessing they're still trying to figure out what it will be.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, Marley, it won't be too much, because I think, like Omundi said as well, they got the wage cap in La Liga. They can't go over the 200 million. I think that's the cap. So yeah, they can't be obviously giving him like a lucrative wage. Maybe he'll work his way up, and I think that's a good thing for them to do as well. That's the way they've got to structure things, right?
Absolutely. Is he becoming the most expensive midfielder in history, or is Pogba more expensive than that?
Pogba was he? He wasn't over 100 million, no, right?
Oh,
are we talking about euros or pounds here? I'm not sure.
It is I think it is 100 million with the add-ons, though. That is with the add-ons. So I think overall it probably isn't if you include the add-ons, because it's 80 something, 85.
I think it's 80 something with like 50 to 20 million of add-ons. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so with add-ons, he's going to become the most expensive midfielder in history.
I'd suggest that.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry
trying
if you're
to
if you're a Blancos fan, you're watching this. I hate Real Madrid, mate. It's they have the monopoly of football. It's just it's really unfair. Look, it's exactly what Omundi said. Like they have, it's not necessarily the best midfield trio in history, but it's the most successful midfield trio in history, right? Like they won 5 out of 8 Champions Leagues they played together. It's something crazy like that. Modric and Kroos are kind of old. They only have like 1 or 2 years in that level still, but Casemiro probably has another 4. They already have Camavinga and Tchouaméni there. Valverde is a good player as well, Uruguay international. It's crazy, mate. It's crazy what they're doing. I mean, that amount of I don't know Tchouaméni enough, so that seems like a crazy amount of money. But
Wow.
you know, most fans I spoke to of teams that are like trying to get back, like my Arsenal, for instance, when they didn't know that he was that expensive, they always said that he would be their first choice midfielder because he wasn't a star yet, right? Like he was at Monaco. But Monaco, they sell so well too.
Yeah.
They're like the Porto of France. It's crazy the amount of players they reveal and sell for so much money. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what teams are gonna do to compete with Real Madrid, because even when they're not great, this season they weren't. They won everything, but the team was like the 7th best team in Europe. They
Yeah.
still win because they're the biggest club in the world. Like there's just this magnetic pool of trophies that goes on in Real Madrid. Now they're investing right, so it's freaking annoying, mate.
Well, they did what Chelsea did, didn't they? That time that Chelsea won the Champions League the first time, and people didn't expect them to go through and even beat Barcelona. And then Bayern Munich on their home turf as well. It's just one of those things. Talking of Real Madrid, go on, please, Omundi. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, just to add, because I don't like to leave it hanging. It's Paul Mitchell was a sporting director, English guy who went to Monaco and was with Poch at Tottenham and Southampton. And he's got a fantastic record of developing players. He's got Mane. He brought Song in from Germany as well. So many players. The list is endless, but this is another guy.
We need to get Paul Mitchell back to maybe at Man United, mate. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Let's get him on the show first. Let's get him on the show.
Another Madrid story coming out here. One leaving. Maybe this is another good thing for getting to Kamini, the fact they can afford it, because this guy was on big wages as well. I'm not sure how true this actually is at the moment, but there has been a bit of banter from Getafe. They came out with a tweet actually, and they tagged Bale in the tweet. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was having a joke and they're making a mockery about themselves being connected with Bale, but it's staying in Madrid. And let me just, if I can, very, very quickly, I'm very sorry let me just get it here. Little picture here. This would probably be the reason why he wants to stay in Madrid. On the map here, Bale's house is in Madrid. The Bernabeu's in Madrid, of course. Golf course that he loves is in Madrid. And if I can just get rid of that for a second. Getafe's just down there. So is this a good move for him if he wants to stay in Madrid? He obviously loves living there. What do you guys start off with you, Omundi, mate?
I think let's just put things straight first. Bill is a fantastic player. Now, regardless, I know his reputation's been soiled towards the later years, but he's still got a 5th Champions League medal. He's still one of the best players in world football over the last 7, 8, 9 years. There's no doubt about that for me. What he's done at his peak was outrageous, and probably one of the best British players of all time. We have to say that now, if you're being honest. I heard, maybe, I don't know if it's direct quote, but I was researching this. I've heard that he wants to stay there for his family. He doesn't want to unroot them and stay in good schools that they have in Madrid. He probably likes the lifestyle, as you're saying with the map there, about good golf courses and never raining, Probably got a nice caddy with him and good golf club where he enjoys. But jokes aside, I think Getafe might not be able to afford his wages. If he could negotiate something with them, that'd be ideal. But we haven't mentioned here Atletico Madrid, who are also in that region of Madrid. And that would be a slap in the face to the Real Madrid fans. And I think to myself, well, why not do that, Gareth Bale? The fans haven't treated you so well, so why not go to the rivals and then really make a name for yourself again and go out there and do something? I don't know how that's going to go, but I do like Gareth Bale as a player, because sometimes we're in an era now where there's talk about player power and that kind of thing. He could have left. He went on loan, obviously, but he could have left and said, I'm not playing. But he decided to dig it out, stick it out there and stay. And that's a lesson. I think Real Madrid have learned a lesson from that. So they're changing the way they do business, because he's on £500,000 a week, according to some reports, So Real Madrid have learned a lesson from that, and other clubs will learn a lesson about that as well. And hopefully, look at Manchester United. We've got De Gea, we've got Martial, players who might not be suited to the new manager on big wages, so it's hard to get rid of them, So we have to be really careful when you're putting the wages towards a player. As Marley mentioned earlier, we talk about Tuchemende. I imagine he'd be on about 100 grand a week, and then that would be a good deal, because say, well, you got to earn your place and build it up. You can't not just throw out 350 something a week. Same applies with Frankie de Jong. He's probably the highest paid player at Barcelona, and he comes off after 60 minutes. According to from last season, we saw a lot of that. So I think Bale has been a good example in a way, showing clubs to say, look, there's no point splashing out, because when you're not in favour, you've got a guy sitting there who's hogging the wage bill, and you can't negotiate with the players that you really want moving forward. So Real Madrid need a slap. Maybe he should go to Atletico Madrid. But overall, I want to praise him, because he's still doing it for Wales. And he's one of the best players of our generation and one of the best British players of all time. If anyone wants to argue with me about that, show me the stats or show me someone better. I'd like to see it. But salute to Gareth Bale. You had a good service, good run at Real Madrid, and you deserve to go on and play some nice, easy football somewhere else, and represent.
I'm pretty sure Rayo Vallecano are probably a bit angry now that their names haven't been thrown into the hat, because obviously they're in Madrid as well, and they're like, why aren't you coming to us? Like we had, they had Falcao there.
Falcao, yeah.
Yeah, I think he might still be there. I'm not sure whether he's.
Sorry to interrupt. What's Ronaldo's club just being promoted? Brazilian Ronaldo. What's his club?
It's Real something as well, right?
Valladolid,
yeah.
Valladolid, yeah.
I don't know my geography, but yeah, that's an option maybe.
That's only about an hour outside northwest of Madrid, yeah.
Matt's an honorary Spaniard, right? Like he loves Spain. So.
I did a goal from Valladolid.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like disagreeing with Omundi, but I do strongly. In his peak, he was fantastic. One of the best players I've ever seen. But that was 2 years, like 2 or 3 seasons that he had at that level. Like for a good couple of seasons now, like Lucas Vazquez plays ahead of him so often. And Lucas Vazquez is an average player. Like I'm not a fan of his. What?
I don't think Bale is one of the best British players of all time.
Yeah, no, that was overdoing it slightly. Yeah, for sure.
But I hear a show coming on here. I hear a title for a show.
Discussing Bale going somewhere for me right now, it's like talking about Ronaldinho coming back to football and playing. Like it's past it, right? Like you say Atletico Madrid, they'd be nuts to go for Bale right now. Like, why would they? He's not at the level they need, and he's gonna find himself in a weird situation now because, as you said, he was probably paid like $500,000 every week, and now I'm pretty sure no club would pay like over 80 for him. It's maybe it's a case of him going abroad, like going to the US, China is now like the market's slimming down, but going to the Middle East, something like that, where he's going to be a huge star. He's probably going to be good enough to be playing there, and it's going to be about publicity, right? Like it's not going to be about the sport itself, because Bale just like he doesn't play football anymore. He didn't do anything at Tottenham when he was here for a season. He hasn't done anything in Real Madrid for what, 5 seasons, 4 seasons. Something like that. Yeah, he has 5 Champions Leagues, but he was prominent in 2. So yeah, I don't know.
He didn't play much football in the Liga this season. I think it was only a couple of 100 minutes. So
dude, Lucas Vazquez was way ahead of him. So, and that's a player that whenever a team is linked with Lucas Vasquez, everyone's bitching online. Everyone's like, "No, Lucas Vasquez, why? Like, what's he a solution for?" Still, he plays ahead of Bale every single game. So I just feel like it's. I mean, he can bring it back. He's talented, but I just feel like he lost his focus. It happens a lot to Brazilian players. I don't see that happening too much with European players usually. But yeah, he lost the mindset. His mind's not in it anymore.
There were links, obviously, with Cardiff as well, but I think Championship may be a step down for him. Also, I just remembered what Getafe put out. They put out Wales, Golf, Madrid in that order. Like joking around because he loves Madrid. He's still like his third best thing out of the three. He's still on the list of favourite things. Sven,
what was his first English team? Was it Blackpool?
Southampton.
Southampton. He came from the academy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but he went to Blackpool afterwards and then to Spurs.
I think maybe on loan, maybe, but he went.
I don't remember Blackpool on Bale.
He was signed to Spurs from Southampton. I'm not sure about
his breakthrough season as a left back was not at Southampton. I'm so sure of that. Okay, let me look it up. You guys talk.
Yeah, it definitely was, mate. Guaranteed, 100%. I don't even have to look that up. Sven, what did you make of Madrid, mate? What do you make of Bale staying in Madrid? Sorry, what do you make of Madrid? What do you make of him staying?
He's been linked to multiple English sides as well, like Newcastle, Southampton, Nottingham Forest.
Newcastle, right?
yeah, true. Nottingham Forest is quite interesting because they got all the promotion money now. So,
that'd be.
And I think he will be a decent player for them.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I know Tottenham are definitely not looking in for him anyway. But yeah, what do you think, guys? A thumbs up or a thumbs down? Do you think he's leaving? I'm not saying he's leaving Real Madrid, but is he leaving Madrid? What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
He's definitely leaving the club.
Yeah.
Can I just say, because I think it's a good, you've got to provide for prosecution and the defense if you're going to make a claim. I made a claim that he's probably one of the best British players of all time. I think, you got Mark Hughes, Ian Rush, Ryan Giggs, all these players never got to a Euro semi-final, never qualified for a World Cup like he has just now. Most successful British export, with 5 Champions League medals and a couple of league titles as well. I think when you look at the stats, maybe we have to realise that British players aren't as good as they think they are. So maybe Bale, even on his best day, is up there. It's got to be up there, and I do support that. I also, just my final point about Gareth Bale as well. When you talk about Lucas Vasquez and being ahead of him, I think it's for the harmony of the team. I think Bale was crossed out a few years ago based on his attitude, based on his injuries, based on the legend of playing golf over football, that kind of thing. That's why it's a bit like Bogart's situation. You edge them out, you don't make them play, you get instructions, just don't play him. Don't play him because you need to teach this guy a lesson. I don't think Vasquez is better than him. I just think it's a case of it's disciplinary, it's a slap in the face from Real Madrid to say, we don't want you here. Go on loan, don't come back. But he decided to dig his heels in and say, F you, I'm staying to collect my wages until the very end. And now I think that's the reasons, not footballing reasons, but political reasons why he wasn't played and why he's a bit rusty now. But you still see him playing for Wales, even though he's lost his drive, his pace. He's not that old, to be honest. He reminds me of Jack Wilshere. I heard Jack Wilshere on that he's been played out in Denmark for the last 6 months recently. 10 years ago, he was looked upon as one of the best British talents out there, So I think sometimes, like Ravel Morrison's got the ability, but doesn't really, went to Mexico, went to Scandinavia, went all over. If you're not wanted, if you're blacklisted in that sort of sense, and you're not getting any good football, and you're not getting the wage you deserve in a way, these are the kind of things that can happen to him. So I think he might have an issue with his reputation being tarnished by what he's done, and he's going to have to show a lot more because he shows it for Wales. When it comes to domestic football and club football, it'd be interesting to see where he goes. So I'll keep my eyes on this Bell saga.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on it, everybody. We're not sure exactly where he's going to be going. He did say he would love to stay in Madrid, but obviously not going to be at Real Madrid. Another one here, Lukaku to reunite with Inter Milan on loan from Chelsea. Sven, what do you make of this, mate? Do you think this is good for him? He come out with a statement in the press saying that he wishes to connect back with Inter Milan someday, and it looks like it might be very soon.
I think it's definitely good for him. Yeah, he was a way better player in Italy than he's been with Chelsea. And I think the partnership with Martinez, that's an insane striker duo. Inter will challenge for the title again next season if Lukaku actually goes back to them. I'm pretty sure.
What do you think it is, mate? Do you think it's the pace of the football? Because the defending in Italy is really good, so it doesn't really make much sense to me how great he is in a league that is so well defense minded. What do you make of that?
Different tactics, maybe. I don't really know. Like you have at Chelsea, you have Mason Mount, Havertz behind him, Werner next to him. When they all play, but yeah, I'm not sure actually what the problem is. Maybe it's just the culture and yeah.
It must be because he come out with that.
Must be the yeah.
He knew what he was doing. He surely knew, right? Omundi he knew what he was doing when he's come out and said that. He clearly wanted to go back from that moment, and it seems to have crippled his season, didn't it? From that day on for Chelsea.
Yeah, there's obviously an issue. I also think it's about reputations as well. Look at Werner. He was killing it for Red Bull. That's why he was signed for so much money. Comes to Chelsea under a different manager, Frank Lampard at the time, and didn't look like the same player. Because you need to go somewhere where you need to, when you're going to a new club, you need to go somewhere and say, how is this team going to suit me? What's going to happen here? And if Lukaku, he started at Chelsea, obviously came from Anderlecht or whatever. He started at Chelsea at a young age. He said he'd like to return one day. He's come back as a prodigal son kind of thing, and it hasn't worked out for him. And the reason I think it hasn't worked out for him is because in Italy, you might talk about defensive players and everything else, but it's a lot more suited to him, I believe, because he's physical. He's physical. And I'm not saying Italian players can't deal with the physical. I just think he will get the ball in areas which benefit him. So obviously, you know what his strengths are: back to goal, touch tight with a defender. He can roll you, that kind of thing. He more interplay. It's not so much running in the channels. He's at the age now where he doesn't want to do that donkey work, running in channels and that kind of thing. At Man United, he was often playing at the left and asked to do sort of a donkey work up and down, that kind of thing. So he had Martinez, the manager Inter Milan, realised, right, let Martinez do a lot of pressing and work for him, and let's just utilise the strengths of Lukaku, which is strength and physicality, and he will pin down 2 or 3 centre-backs at one time, which is really key, So it's very difficult to deal with. But I think in England, his reputation was soiled because of what happened at Man United. Everyone says he wears DMs when he's playing football. His touch is poor and all this kind of thing. How dare we? I mean, we're not professional footballers. His touch is much better than mine, But this is what's said. And same with Pogba. Reputations gets ruined by fans and media. And just to say one thing, I don't know if it's true or not, but just to say about the English media and how they can ruin players. The Premiership think, we're the best league in the world. You got players, you got pundits, all these players talking, and it's like, I think that we are the most uneducated fans in world football, the English fans. I really do think that because we don't understand the game. We've been in dark ages for a long time, and you see players going abroad, and look at Kieran Trippier, for example. He went to Atletico Madrid and went there and was like overwhelmed at his age, learning so much about the game that he had no idea about before. And no matter, you can bring foreign coaches over, whatever, but the English fans and people are not educated enough. You get fans saying attack, and long balls and want to see aggression and all this kind of thing, and running hard. There's different types of football, which is why when you get the blends or playing into Champions League and that kind of thing, it really works. Lukaku should go back to Italy and be effective where he's loved and one else feels wanted. Over here, he's, like I say, it's soiled. They say he ain't got a good touch. Even his own Chelsea fans are destroying him as well. I've been to games at Chelsea, and they're not really big. They don't really rate him that much, And they listen to what's said rather than watch the player and try to work to his strengths. So I think if you're a player, and I think also there's a lot of prejudice involved in football as well, underlying stuff with certain players, and I think he's a victim of that as well. So go back to Italy where you think, why there? But it's worked for him. He's successful there, and even if it's on a loan, I guarantee he'll be back to what he was doing last season.
Yeah, I agree with Omundi there. Terrifically how he said the fact that Martinez, they're a great link. I know Sven said it as well. Do you agree with that, Marley, as well? You think it's just best for him to go back to where he's best being and best playing because he had a tremendous season at Inter Milan. They love him. The fans love him. He seems to love them and the city. It's just hand in hand, isn't it?
Absolutely. I don't disagree with anything Omundi said. I just want to add a couple of things. Well, first of all, I don't mean to censor anyone, but Lukaku is definitely one of those players that's a bit too vocal, and he ends up like ruining the atmosphere for himself. And I'm sure the media has a lot to do with that too, and like how rude the fans are. I don't agree that English fans are the rudest in the planet. I can throw a couple of names like named there to compete with you guys, but yeah, there's a lot of sourness, a lot of rudeness for sure. But
Name them.
I don't class myself as English, so it's okay.
Brazilian fans are tricky to deal with too. But mate, Lukaku to me, he seems like one of those players that needs the click. Like he clicks in a couple of clubs, he doesn't click in a couple of others, right? Like he was great at Everton too. Like that transition from Everton to United didn't make any sense because he was tearing shit up in England. He stayed in England, went to a better club, went to a much stronger club, didn't work out. That made no sense. When he went to Inter, it was a different situation. Yeah, he clicked again. He came back to Chelsea, didn't happen. Like Chelsea's business that season, they brought Lukaku was weird. Like bringing Lukaku, like I think Werner and Havertz were actually before Lukaku, right? Which is like the investment up front. Chelsea was a little confusing to me. I couldn't see what they were trying to do. Still did a lot better than Arsenal, so I'm not gonna make fun of them or anything, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, Lukaku seems to me like Mkhitaryan is one of those players too. Like he needs to click for it to work out. Lukaku seems to me that it would be great for Inter, but for Inter and for Lukaku, I have no idea why Chelsea would loan out such an expensive player though. They should be trying to sell him. Sure, no one's going to pay the money they want, but they could pay close to it.
Well,
Loaning him out.
If the loan works out, they will probably buy him. Maybe it's too risky now of his form. That could be a thing.
But I think also if he does really well at Inter Milan and then other clubs go, hang on a minute, we might have a little look at this. We might buy him off you instead. So it might be one of those things where they're sort of like trying to just sort of show him to everybody that can afford him, because we know there is problems in Syria with clubs being able to afford the lucrative and the biggest world-class players at this moment in time. But let's move on, everybody. Let's go to, I want to start with you, Sven, on this one as well. Holozalek, I hope I said that right.
I think it's like
Slozek,
something like that.
Holozek. Holozek to Leverkusen is a done deal from Sparta. I think it's around 20 million. Decent player as well, can play lots of positions, what I was reading up about him. Sven, fill us in, mate.
We're a very young player, talented player. He was linked with a lot of different teams.
There he is.
Yeah, Leverkusen, PSV wanted him badly. I have a lot of friends who are PSV fans, and they were very sad to see he didn't join them, but he moved to Leverkusen instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Leverkusen is an interesting team. They have a lot of the young players like Jeremy Frimpong, Wirtz now, although he's injured. Schick isn't that old yet, and he's very good. Yeah, that's a good team. I think they will push for Champions League football next season. They didn't get fourth this
year. What's the name of that exciting winger? Is it Diaby?
Diaby as well, yeah.
Good player.
Yeah, he will play on the right, I think, and Schick at striker, and Glozek on the left with Wirtz behind them. That's a fantastic attacking trio with them, Wirtz behind them.
Because he's Polish international as well, I believe.
Czech Republic.
Sorry, damn it. I knew I was close. Close. Yeah, he's been playing recently in internationals, and he has been impressing quite a lot of people. But it seems like he's going to Bayern Leverkusen. They are known for having decent players, Bayern Leverkusen, actually. I do believe Chicharito was there at some point, Omundi. Is that correct?
Chicharito played at Leverkusen, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he stayed there for a period of time. Like I say, I like how German clubs do their business, and this is another example of a great business, because in a couple of years' time, he will shine. He's going to be on a bigger stage now, and people say, "Oh my God, look at this guy!" You know. But playing for Sparta Praga, he did shine. I think he played well in the Europa League.
He's been good in Europa League as well.
Group. I think they had Rangers and Lyon in their group stage. They came third. They got relegated to the Conference League, and then they went out to a final in the end. But he's. And the year before that, they beat Leicester. and thing, but he didn't have that much involvement so much because of his age. Like you say, like Sven says, he's only 19, but obviously very promising. He's 6'2" for a winger or forward or inverted winger, whatever you want to call it. He's right-footed. Obviously, it gives you great balance to have Diaby at Leverkusen on the right, with his left foot. And then I can never say his name without saying shite. The Czech striker up front, he used to play for Roma. What's his name?
Schick.
Yeah, Sheik.
Yeah.
How
You guys
disrespectful.
realize when Omundi says Chouameni, it sounds like Touchamandi, which is a dangerous way to pronounce it.
I like the signing. I really like the signing for Leverkusen. I think I love how German clubs do their business, because if you look at Red Bull, for example, they've got the feeder club from Salzburg. They can get great players from there. They've got a even better example of how to bring players through. It's like a conveyor belt of top players, and obviously they've just brought that young striker to Dortmund from Salzburg. Yeah, he's going to be a fantastic player. And I also think when the Red Bull, they've got the guy from Paris who's banged enough goals this year. Who's played the year.
He's been
fantastic.
He's been insane. Yeah.
Diaby came from Paris as well. And now his values and stocks come up. So when Sven made the point earlier that maybe Brazilian players should come to the Dutch league and that kind of thing, it's great. It's a great example because they get first team football, they get recognised as proper players, and then they can get sold for big money, which is really a good model for sustaining a club at this sort of level, And not to say Leverkusen no mugs, because eventually when they do get players together and manage to have a little bit of extra money, keep players together, you can see what they can do, like they did with Roberto and Balek and all these guys when they reached the Champions League final. I think it was 2001, So and before that as well, the late 90s and everything else, they were really a fantastic team. And who was their coach? Hitzfeld, was it? For a period of time, wasn't it? And then it was Hitzfeld. Yeah. So, and then they had Bastok, the little Turk guy as well. Sorry, Sven, it might be a bit dated for you, but I think all that this shows you, you just think to yourself, wow, if these teams like Lyon and Ajax and were able to, and Benfica were able to keep their best players for at least 2 more years and extend, keep them going, they could have a championship or a European Champions League or major trophy winning side. And like we used to in the old days before the Champions League, with teams like Red Star Belgrade and
Bucharest.
PSV Bucharest, great example with Hadji in that. So I really like how this signing. I'll be keeping my eyes on him because I think German football's their model is just brilliant. So well done to them for picking this guy up.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Also, Grosdijk isn't just assists or goal scoring. He can do both. He scored 9 goals and got 13 assists in the Czech league this year, I believe.
So he's someone for the future. He might even bounce from this. This is a good move for him. Let's move on, though, everybody, because
one more thing. He was top goal scorer in 2020-21. He was joint top goal scorer with 15 goals.
There you go.
In the Czech league. So,
this year he got 13 assists, so he can put in double digits on both.
That's amazing. Let's move on. We've even got very long left. I know we got one more chat after this quick chat about one for the future, basically talking about who we think might be talked about in the media in the next few years. Marley, let's start off with you about this one, though. Liverpool winning the race for Darwinnunez from Benfica. He had a terrific campaign against Liverpool, actually, in the Champions League. I think he scored 2 goals at Anfield. I believe he did. Marley, what'd you make of this, mate? I know lots of clubs were looking at him. Man United lost out in the race, unfortunately.
Arsenal too.
Yeah, okay. I didn't hear much about Arsenal, but yeah.
You get a tall striker that can actually play football. Nowadays, people go nuts over him, right? Like it happens with Vlahovic, Haaland, Nunez, Kamaka. Everyone goes bananas for a player that's tall, that can actually play, because Omundi and Maddie definitely remember this. I mean, Sven's younger, but he does a lot of research, so you can ask him about like players in the 30s and stuff. But a good 20 years ago, in Brazil mainly, dude, there was so many players up front, number 9s, that like they couldn't dribble. The ball hit them and went outside, but they could score. Like they were good headers, they were big guys, they scored a lot of goals. You have this new breed of striker now Nunez is impressive. His goal scoring record at Benfica is really impressive. He's definitely like the future of Uruguay, right? Because both Cavani and Suarez are getting quite old.
Yeah.
So exciting
True.
for Liverpool, mate. And that's also a player that Liverpool hasn't had in a long time, like a good goal scoring number 9. Suarez was the last like true goal scorer they had, and he's not even the same style. So yeah, exciting, very exciting for them. I hate it.
Yeah, I'm hating it too, right, Omundi? I mean, we were in the running for him. I would have loved to have seen him at Man United. I know Ten Hag really wanted him, but what do you make for this for another buy for Liverpool? Do you know what I mean? Winning the race. What do you make of it, mate? In your opinion?
Liverpool making sensible transfers again. I
Yeah.
think when you look at it, they're getting players that can walk into the side like a duck to water. They know exactly the style of play. They know about the atmosphere. They know the job that they have to fulfill. If you look at they bought Diaz from Portugal as well. Portugal's a good market for them right now. To get players because obviously Liverpool don't spend that much. But obviously with this one, with Nunez, it could be a big money transfer. And it just shows you how far Liverpool have come. They've tended to sort of spend 30, 40, 50 million maximum on players. I know you could say about the goalkeeper, but that was from the Neymar deal and Coutinho from what happened there. But now they're starting to get into the realm where they're actually spending big money and picking players. And you get trust from the coach, the staffing, and the manager when you start realizing most of the majority of their signings are developing as players, and he's identifying good players for the system. You have to look at Robbo and Gigi, 2 players that were probably relegated and not thought about, and they've come in and been outstanding for Liverpool Football Club. That's Ronaldo I'm talking about. So Nunez is great. He can play off the left. Obviously, Klopp had first-hand experience because he scored a hat-trick against them, but they were all offside in one game against Liverpool in the knockout stages. But still, his movement, I feel sure Virgil van Dijk has fed back and said this guy is difficult, he's difficult to deal with. And he's fast, he's pacey, he's big and strong, like Marley was saying. And I think he's an ideal player for Liverpool Football Club. And if they are going to spend that sort of money, I think it's more to do with Nunez wants to go to them rather than a team like Manchester United who are not in the Champions League.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Sven,
He's gonna be the most expensive Liverpool signing ever, right? Like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be that. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon he might be at some
Well,
point. What do you make of it, Sven?
yeah, as a Liverpool fan, I'm very happy. I think the 85 million is what they were talking about. I believe is quite expensive, but he's like 22 years old, so we will get some utility out of him for sure. Yeah, that's the only thing. 85 million. What if he cannot handle the Premier League yet? That's the only concern, really.
Yeah. It's still up in the air, I guess. Like Talk said down there, that it could. Man United still ain't out of the race, but I'm just saying that Liverpool clearly are winning it. They can give him the wages. They can give him Champions League football, which is something that he does want, and he's already played at Anfield. So it's just everything's like hand in hand for it, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't really like him for knocking out Ajax this year, and then for almost knocking out Liverpool as well. But in the end, he's a very good player. He can, has a good header, good on the ball as well, tall, fast, can play on the left, can play up top. Together with Diaz and Salah, he will be insane.
He will be. They will be very good. I want to quickly rush on to the next topic because we are nearly at the end. I know people's got shows and things to do. We've got 7 minutes left, but I just want to add this in because every time we do a transfer show, we're going to try and add in at the end of it one for the future. So this one is, I'm pretty sure Marley knows him, especially. I know Mondi does, and Sven's talked about him as well. Endrick of Palmeiras, 15-year-old lad, and a lot of people are vibing and talking about him. Marley, can you tell us anything about what you've heard over there in Brazil about the lad?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard a lot of rumors about big clubs chasing him. I'm sure everyone wants him. I think I heard United from you guys that United were interested.
We are keeping an eye on him. Yeah, that's correct. Real Madrid as well are looking at him.
He's impressive, mate. He hasn't debuted for a Palmeiras professional side yet because Palmeiras is a phenomenal team. For a couple years now, maybe the best team in Brazil. It's Flamengo, Palmeiras, and Atlético Mineiro. So it's one of the big three. They have a really exciting squad of not so old players. Like they have quite a young squad. So there's no room for him yet. there's a really big competition in Brazil called Copa São Paulo de Futebol Júnior. So it's the biggest youth competition in Brazil. And I could easily say that it's the biggest youth competition in the continent as well, in the American continent. Like it's broadcasted on like big sports channels in Brazil, all of that. Like he was 15 and he was most likely the best player in that competition, where he was playing against like up to 19-year-olds. That's crazy. A lot of times people like you guys are probably not going to remember Robert. He was sold from Fluminense to Barcelona like a good 10 years ago, 15 years ago. He looked awesome when he was a youth player because he developed earlier than most people. So he was more athletic, he was faster, he was stronger. Endrick is 3 years younger than the players he was playing against, and he was still the best. So there's no guarantees that he's going to be the best player in the world, that he's going to be the next Messi or even a next Neymar or something like that. But it's definitely promising. If Vinicius Jr. was sold for 45 million, I'm pretty sure Endrick is going to be the most expensive player to come out of Brazil. There's also that criminal transfer that like from Neymar to Barcelona.
Yeah.
I have no idea how much that actually was, but excluding that, it's gonna be a lot of money, mate, because Palmeiras doesn't need to sell, and he's a very impressive talent,
Yeah.
probably the best player in the world at his age, right? Like it's tough to dispute that. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. But
It's difficult because like talented players like Endrick, you would love to see them go to like an Ajax and PSV or Leverkusen, but they cannot afford him. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing.
yeah,
If the Brazilian teams want 50, 60 million for them, it's not gonna happen.
yeah.
Yes,
Amundi,
unfortunate.
any thoughts on it, Amundi, on Endrick? I know you spoke about him a little bit as well.
Yeah, Marley made some great points. Same points I was going to make is the transition. I feel obviously when you're watching him play, he's bigger, stronger, faster. A bit like Steve Austin. We can build him bigger, stronger, faster than the rest. That kind of thing. The $6 million man, but he's not $6 million man. He's going to be probably about a $60 or $70 million man. This guy. Obviously, he's very highly touted, but I just think it's the physical at the moment. I want to see a bit more technical, a bit more tactical awareness, and I think that will come from his age 16, 17, 18 when he does maybe break into the first team and play against men, which is men's football. And I think that's the transition that everyone's waiting to see before they really make a move. I think I read somewhere recently they have put a price in his head. So when he does come 18, there will be sort of figure that they're looking at, but that could increase if he does really develop and step up. So it's up to him now. These next 3 years are crucial. I think for Brazilian players, in fairness, I think majority of them do get sold quite young if they show any sort of ability at that sort of age. And it's a shame really for the football out there. I mean, imagine what sort of size they could field. You mentioned Flamengo earlier. I remember the 19 junior Zico playing against the team with Socrates, all that kind of thing. Those were great teams. You look at Santos as well back in the day. They were great teams because the players tended to stay in Brazil. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm definitely will keep my eye on him and see how he develops. Obviously, physically now, he's head and shoulders over most 15-year-olds. But let's see when people start to catch up. The physicality is not an advantage anymore. Let's see what he's got.
Well, but that's the thing. Like he's more impressive physically at 16 than most 18-year-olds. That's where it's scary, right? Like he truly looks to be one of those next like Cristiano Ronaldo, Mbappe's that are just like they're beyond physically, right? Like LeBron James in basketball, like they're almost like a new species of human being. Like it's
going to
evolved.
say when you mentioned basketball, I was going to do a comparison with the guy. Who's the guy who got? He came in a couple of years ago into the NBA. But he's known for his dunking. Big,
Giannis?
Really big.
Giannis?
No, not Giannis. Really big set guy, physically dominating the college football, basketball. He's coming to the NBA, and he's also got the physical over them as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Zion.
Yes, yeah, him.
Zion.
This guy reminds me of him in stature and being able to bully people as well. And maybe that would be his game again. But I don't want him to rely too much on the physical. Show a bit more something as well going forward. But yeah, great, really nice. What I love to talk about these sort of guys. You don't often get to talk about these guys on the show.
By the way, just to piss
Very
all of us
quickly,
off,
Molly.
if I was to place money on it, I'm pretty sure he's gonna end up going to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Like it
I
looks
think-
like Real Madrid signing, and just like really quickly as well, just because Sven is wearing a Real Betis shirt, they're expecting Luis Henrique. That's a really talented player coming from Fluminense. He's
Centre
going
back?
to Real Betis. No,
No.
He's
Was
right
he?
winger.
Winger,
Right
winger,
winger.
right
Alright.
winger. Yeah.
What's his name?
Very. He was compared. I don't like these. I mean, I like them, but I don't respect them. Right? Like he was compared to Rivaldo. He does have a similar way of carrying the ball, of dribbling, of shooting. They don't look the same, but their football looks very similar. He's an exciting player, mate. He's an exciting player, very smart as well. He looked depressed for a couple of games. Like it didn't look like his head was there, but when it is, mate, like very very skillful. Kaique recently went to Man City,
Man City.
and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Luis Henrique benched Kaique all the time. Like Kaique was a
Wow.
bench player before going to City. So
Wow.
definitely expect to see some great things from him. I think he's gonna go somewhere bigger than Betis eventually, even though Betis are doing great.
Cool. Right, we've run out of time, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's brilliant transfer talk. If you are watching, please do smash a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, everybody in the comments. Talk MU, Football versus Cancer, Charlie Hibbert, Anthony Herbert. Cool, that's a tongue twister. Devils United, Maisie. It's a couples thing, which I think is Luca. Big up to everybody in the chat. And Omundi, where can we find you, mate? Thank you so much for joining us today. It's really, really interesting.
Well, my phone's always on, Matt. I haven't heard from you for a long time, but thanks for getting me on. I love being on your show. Like I say, I love talking about international football and getting outside this bubble of the Premiership all the time, which I tend to talk about too much. So you can find me at the Manchester United Agenda. That's the Man United Agenda. You can see me there. And I'm on tonight at 8:30, so come and check us out. And big up to the Football United TV, doing great stuff. International soccer at its best. And I've learned so much today.
Same here, mate. Thank you so much, mate. Omundi, much a pleasure for having you on yet again. And I will be giving you a call, mate. Don't you worry. Sven, where are you at, mate? Thank you so much for coming on. Where can we find you, mate?
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure once again. You can find me on Instagram, Footy Community, almost at 3.5k now. And I also started YouTube now. My first video came online like 2 weeks ago. It's the same name, Footy Community as well.
Well done. You kept that quiet.
Awesome.
All right, I'm subscribing. There you go. Everybody go subscribe. Where can we find it again, Sven? Say it again.
It's Footy Community without the underscore. And
Right, brilliant. Good channel name as well, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
appreciate it.
And Marley, where can we find you apart from in the West End theatre in London?
No, don't
Broadway.
overhype things, mate. I'm trying. I'm chasing my dreams. I haven't done anything yet, but find me here. This is home for me, and I just want to spend my solo time to thank these guys because they're awesome. Thank you for being here. This is a really fun show.
It was indeed. Thank you so much. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We have just run over the time, but it's okay. Try and keep it in within the hour. 2 minutes is all good. Thank you, everybody. Have a pleasant rest of your week and a good weekend. And we will see you again at some time, Marley, right? For the transfer show yet again. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.